Now, it is for a reason that what I have been saying in the past few days, or why I have been saying while I analyzing the Ramaphosa's meeting with President Trump, that the only benefit goes to Elon Musk because he's the one who has profited from this meeting or all humiliation and everything, because at the end it is the deal of Starlink that has been now awarded to Elon Musk. Sadly, as we speak, President Ramaphosa is circumventing the country's Black economic empowerment, known as the BEE law, to bring Musk's Starlink to rural regions and others in the country, meaning in South Africa. Hello, I am Mahlet Ayele, your host at Connect Africa, bringing you the latest from the continent, what we think that needs to be analyzed, or hot topic for the day is what we are going to do at our 7 p.m. Central European Time news. So the Trump administration is pressuring actually not only South Africa, but African countries in general. And the goal is actually to get a business deal for Elon Musk, and of course thereby for the US. And from the time that Trump has his presidential inauguration has happened, what's happening is that the US has been pressuring African countries, or pressuring on African countries to get or to sign a deal to bring to Starlink, or to give Starlink a license in African countries. And they have been using three ways of approach while doing it. One is they're applying maximum pressure on, by the State Department conducting a months-long campaign to push African countries to help, as they say, of course, Musk's satellite internet company, and records and interviews show this. And one example is the Gambia. The other is also the use run-this-through approach, which is by working closely with executives at Starlink. Now the US government is making a global push to help expand Musk's business empire in the developing world. And the third one approach they are using, the Trump administration together with Elon Musk, which is a crony capitalism. Diplomats are alarmingly departing from their standard practice in countries, because they are using tactics threatening basically countries and ministers if they don't sign that deal. America is going to cut or apply additional tariff, cut aid, this and that. So that's the approach that they are using. So the pressure on South Africa is exerted by this unholy trio. One is Donald Trump, the president, Elon Musk himself, the business owner of Starlink, and then AfriForum is a non-governmental organization that works primarily for white South Africans, known as Afrikaners, bringing them to the public sphere and promoting debate and advocating for them basically to be also in politics. I don't know why the name Africa they use. Also, the name is Afrikaans. It's interesting, by the way. It's a discussion for another day. But now I'm going to raise like 15 points while analyzing this. And I want to allow me to start from this meeting, this infamous meeting where Johan Rupert from South Africa, white South Afrikaner, actually begs, and that you see that is the main agenda for Starlink to come to South Africa. Listen to it.
We need technological help. We need Starlink at every little police station. We need drones. I actually got drones donated for the peace parks to stop elephant and rhino poaching. And his predecessor stopped the importation because he said the United States would spy on us. I mean, the US basics, the ridicule.
Okay,
so
that's a point there. The Ramaphosa's predecessor is Jacob Zuma, so he says the US is spying on us. Okay, you can. It's a point. You can take it and analyze it for yourself. Do your own research. Now, I'm gonna go fast forward in this video, and you will see where he talks about Starlink.
We've got equivalents there, but we need your help, sir, and we need Elon technology. Well, all of that.
So yeah, he said it. We need Elon technology. We need Elon Musk's Starlink in South Africa. Otherwise, we are dying. The genocide is going to finish us all. So that's what he is saying there. Now, I want you, to look at this. Let me just put this on a side where. Yeah, so in this meeting, but I'm gonna put it on mute as I, I raise my points one by one. First of all, the first point that I want to look at is that, the real beneficiary is, of course, as I said, from this whole meeting is Elon Musk. Now, who are the countries that allowed now so far Starlink in their country who licensed it? South Africa has just bended its law, which is 30%. Any white investor to come to the country and invest needs to give 30% of it to black person, to a black business. That is how it works, because the ownership, the economy is totally owned by the white people in South Africa, and it's unfair. So the only way to correct is by doing this. So he just circumvented that, and now Elon Musk is accepted exceptionally to come without giving any percentage of it to black business, and 100% owned by him to operate in the country. Now, which African countries have done this? So we start with South Africa. We have 18 of them, and you can see that the names are not really that surprising. Liberia, Burundi, Niger. Okay, I'm gonna come back to Niger. Lesotho, Mozambique, Swatini, Sierra Leone, Kenya, Benin, Madagascar, Botswana, Malawi, Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan, Rwanda, Ghana, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, and Zambia. So now you may ask, Niger being the Sahel state, why it is accepting, this Starlink from the United States, after particularly they have kicked the US military and the largest drone base from their country. Why are they accepting this deal? My assumption is only, the only logical thing is that, they are not now in good terms with China. They have, in fact, closing some business, because China could have easily replaced this and filled the gap, but they're kicking some Chinese business for the reason that they're saying they are not abiding by the rules and regulations of the Niger's government, and maybe this is, and given the connectivity problem, and this is what they have to pick on. So that's why DRC, it's not surprising, because Democratic Republic of Congo literally has begged for the United States. They said, we give you mineral in exchange for your intervention. That's Democratic Republic of Congo for you. That's how the president of DRC begged the United States for direct colonialism. Anyways, America has been buying the minerals and the diamonds and whoever, those blood minerals from DRC, but this now just being on an in official way. So these are the countries that have licensed. And now the Gambia has refused, and it has made it to the news because one of the ministers who is responsible for licensing businesses like Starlink actually being threatened by the US ambassador in the Gambia. And I quote this, I'm going to read it from the article. Look, in mid-March, Cromer Cromer is ambassador. This is her last name. Cromer escalated the campaign by writing to Gambia's president with, in quotation, an important request. So that day, a contentious DC meeting between Musk employees and Jabi is a minister responsible for such business in Gambia, so had ended in an impasse. She urged the president to circumvent Jabi and facilitate the necessary approvals for Starlink. This is how far, these people go in terms of making their business possible. So it doesn't end there. Now, according to a copy of the letter obtained by ProPublica in the Gambia, Jabi told Confidentes that he felt the ambassador was trying to get him fired by writing that letter to the president of the Gambia. This is what they are doing. This is only after Trump's inauguration. Imagine what, we are 5 months in, right? Yeah. So the second point I want to raise is that what happens, when African countries fail to license Starlink? Of course, they're threatening the countries. They will cut aid. That's what the America is saying. They will accuse them by human rights violation. This demonizing those heads of states who refuse to license Starlink, and anything that the US have got on that leader, because our heads of states, one way or the other, have been doing their dirty business and relation with these Western governments and receiving money, corruption during their election campaign. So anything that the US have been hiding about you, they're gonna come at you if you do not give them a license. Okay, that's what's happening. Blackmailing, basically. As a third point I would like to point is that, coming back now to South Africa has previously, of course, delayed the licensing of Starlink, questioning a regulatory complaint, which is regulatory. South Africa has this regulation. If I may read it, this is, look, it does establish the right, the Black economic empowerment does establish the right to equality, which is a cornerstone of BEE policies. BEE is, or Black empowerment, Black economic empowerment, is implemented through legislation like the broad-based Black Economic Empowerment Act, which sets targets and objectives for promoting economic transformation and Black participation in the economy. The act aims to achieve a substantial change in the racial composition of ownership and management structures, with specific targets for land ownership, equity, participation, and representation in broad positions. So that is the act that South Africa has. So now it has been breached by President Ramaphosa by allowing Starlink or Elon Musk to operate. Now, what are the aftermaths of the White House meeting? Of course, this is what happened. Ramaphosa, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, has given already a briefing that the country is going to license Starlink and relaxing, they call it relaxing the conditions that are required, so exceptionally for Elon Musk. And this is happening also without constitutional bid and breaching the law, basically. And this is what also Malema, when he was responding to what happened in the Oval Office, he raised this: you are breaching the law. There is no due process have been applied, because this is just happening without any bid. Okay, the fifth point I want to raise is that what Africa or South Africa should do about this. They should abide by the rules and regulations that they have put in their constitution, because you cannot just have this kind of foreign investment or foreign direct investment, as much as the countries are begging for it. There are laws for it. For example, some countries put 51% for the government and 49% for that investment, this kind of things. And for South Africa, it's a different case, because most of the economy is owned by the white people. So they have put that 30% has to go specifically to the Black business. That's the only way. which they are breaking it now. And the other thing also, you have to make sure what African countries should do is you have to make sure that you are benefiting equally like the United States. Example, like Dr. Arkana the other day was giving an interview to the South Africa Broadcasting Corporation, and she emphasized mainly make sure you bring on the table that you benefit equally as much as the US is saying, because this is equal partnership. Otherwise, go away. I mean, we have other investments in such sectors, what Starlink does. So you even can't return. We go to the next, business, and they're offering us this and that. So why should we give you? What are our benefits? So come, with partners who knows the matters and who are really Pan-African, exactly, who are not intimidated by Trump's administration's bullying against African countries. And number 6, I would like to raise what are the repercussions when you, in the long run, of course, allowing foreign interest for longer time, it comes with consequences, okay? You have to question the challenges of Starlink itself. Now, somewhere here, I kind of brought, here are the things. You can Google it for yourself. Look, Starlink has several downsides, and I'm going to read it for you, including high upfront costs, slower speeds than cable or fiber, weather sensitivity, and potential service disruptions. And these reports, by the way, have been filed by the countries who have licensed Starlink and where Starlink has started operating. These are the complaints that are coming. So these are the downside of Starlink. Let me continue reading. Sorry. Now, where was I? Okay, so some users also find the DIY installation and customer service challenging, and there are concerns about latency, especially for online gaming. Additionally, Starlink's high density areas may be less suitable and may not be available in areas with existing, more reliable internet options. Now, so once again, the challenge or the downsides are high upfront costs, slower speeds than cable or fiber, weather sensitivity, potential service disruptions, latency issues, and DIY installation and customer service, not suitable for high density areas, no live customer service, everything online, astronomical interference, atmospheric pollution. Okay, all these are the downside of Starlink, and you are just allowing it to operate in your country. All right, so the other point I want to raise is that's number 7. Those who refused for licensing Starlink are, one is the Gambia. I have read for you those escalated tension between the ambassador of US in the Gambia and the minister of the Gambia, because he refused to sign the deal. The other countries are mentioned are Namibia under its new leadership, and also Cameroon. Then the next, number 8, is that how much longer they can stay refusing for this license, because the US is coming with threatening them, cutting aid, human rights violation, demonizing the heads of states, this and that, blackmailing. So I don't know, this only time will tell which ones really stay firm their foot on the ground like Captain Ibrahim Traore does, and the rest of the Sahel states. So this time only will tell. The pressure, the more pressure they are, maybe the more submissive they become. Now, again, number 9, on Trump administration using trade, what Trump administration doing is that they're using trade as a cohesion and also intimidation of governments, and now on South Africa, intimidation of the ANC leaders. This is even on their personal capacity as well. And also they make them to breach the law, just like what Ramaphosa did. Number 10, what happens if Starlink is licensed in the country? So first of all, Starlink should be, I think it falls under the infrastructure of or telecommunication. So they have to see, for example, for the case of South Africa, they have admitted like big companies like Amazon, IBM, Microsoft, but they all have been in line with that BEE, Black Economy Empowerment, by giving 30%. So this is what also Elon Musk should follow, but didn't, apparently. He dragged all the South African president and his team to to the United States and arm twisting him. They have won, and now Starlink is going to be licensed. Number 11, how African countries can be more cautious when it comes to such arrangement. First of all, you have to consider of cybersecurity, cyber welfare. These are crucial things. It's not that your sovereignty is endangered just territorial wise. Also, in terms of cybersecurity, your sovereignty can be in danger as well. So you can't just allow such kind of technology, recklessly like that to operate in your country. You have to take consideration into, which parts of the country is going to operate, which segments and under which technology. Now, apparently in rural areas, it seems that it's high cost, and also it's in terms of connectivity, it's not that effective. So you can't really allow it there. Those things should be communicated by governments. And also, what are you offering to these people when you are inviting foreign direct investment, and what do you benefit? What that African country is going to benefit out of it? Number 12, what is happening now is that, many of African countries are literally being bullied by President Trump, Elon Musk, and the AfriForum, this trio, combos, which are really, a devil collaboration. And now they're ambushing and bullying African countries to bring Starlink to Africa. Now, some of this, for example, now in South Africa, analysts say that there is no prepared document actually that shows a pre-prepared document assessing the pros and cons of Starlink. Now, another point, number 13, that I want to raise is that complaints from those who allowed Starlink, as I have mentioned it before, reports of reduced speed and others, high cost, there's no in-person customer service, weather sensitivity, and high cost as well. Yeah. Now, number 14, what do we do? What is the way forward? In conclusion, what's better for Africa to do? These are, Africa has, these potent engineers that have been developed ever since technology has been introduced to the country since the 1990s in the continent. And it has to trust those engineers and give them also the responsibility to study, to research, and bring their report. What are the pros and cons of this technology if we bring it to the continent or to a specific country? Okay, so they can really test this kind of technology before it is allowed, before it is on the doorstep of a given African country. Okay, now there is also what you have to consider, a terrestrial infrastructure, because it's not working everywhere. African countries also must respect, as I said, their own engineers in this kind of technology, and also use intelligence officers, because one of the other problems, the downside of Starlink, is that I think I have read it to you, or let me just be specific about it. Look, atmospheric pollution, astronomical interference. These are the things, so you have to think, and no suitable high density areas, astronomical interference. These are the things that you have to leave it for your engineers and also intelligence officers when you to evaluate the caliber of people that they are bringing into the continent. So that was it as far as my analysis, how laws are bended by South African government, exceptionally for Elon Musk to bring Starlink to the country, and also how other African countries are being arm twisted by President Trump and his administration, Elon Musk. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, and let us know in the comment section what are your takes, what's your view on this, generally on Starlink coming to Africa. I'm not saying it shouldn't be allowed in Africa, but the due process has to be done, and it should not be done just by arm twisting because the US is going to cut aid, or the US is going to add tariff, or because the US is going to blackmail your president. So yeah, Lauren Cowell, 12 Tribes, and Fred Bantu. Fred Bantu says South Africa, like most African countries, is still colonized by the remote control. Yeah, most of us. Ramaphosa is a sellout, just like Felix of the Congo and Ruto of Kenya. Lauren Carl said part of the DRC executive contract is retirement in LA, Miami, or Paris. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, those countries, those 18 countries, they have something already with the United States. I mean, it's not really surprising. The only surprising that was for me was Niger. And Niger also, I think, logically related. I'm not saying it's right, wrong, but I can understand because now they are not in good terms with China. And I don't know from the rest of the South-South cooperation, the global South, which African country can bring such kind of connection to them, but still they could have wait. When I say, put it on a scale and pros and cons, I don't know, yeah, but apparently they have licensed Starlink. Thank you very much again. Please share the video with others and let us know in the comment section what is your view on Starlink and in general its operation in African countries. Support us through our PayPal account and buy me a coffee link and super thanks, super sticker. It's all there. Yeah, what else? And I will see you on the next one, right? Bye.